UKIP would make working people better off through a low-tax revolution, Nigel Farage has said as he launched his party's election manifesto. It would keep workers on the minimum wage out of tax, raise the 40p tax rate threshold to £55,000, introduce a new 30p tax band and scrap inheritance tax. He said UKIP was the only party with a credible plan for immigration and a positive vision for the country. The Conservatives have said there is a £37 billion black hole in UKIP's proposals. But Mr Farage said his was the only party with fully costed plans, which have been verified by independent economic think tank, the Centre for Economic and Business Research. The party's proposals also include an increase of up to £3 billion extra a year in NHS funding, a commitment to spend 2% of GDP on defence and a 5-year ban on unskilled immigration. UKIP, which wants to quit the EU, has said it will hold an in/out referendum as soon as possible in the next parliament. Mr Farage said his was the only party which had the self-confidence and belief in the nation that the UK should govern itself, make its own laws and negotiate its own international trade deals. Big tax giveaway. Setting out the party's election offerings at a hotel in Thurrock, Essex, the UKIP leader said politics had become dominated by giant corporate business interests while ordinary people had been left behind with nobody to speak for them. But he added, UKIP has a plan, we genuinely want to make working people better off. And we will do that by leading the charge and making the argument for a low-tax revolution. We genuinely want to make work pay and for people to have incentives to do better. And we believe that will unleash a kind of economic dynamism that has not been seen in this country in a long time. Mr Farage said he was proposing an £18 billion big tax giveaway, paid for by cutting £32 billion a year from government spending. This would including cutting foreign aid spending, leaving the EU, scrapping the HS2 rail link and changing the Barnett funding formula for the nations. UKIP's policies also include introducing a points-based immigration system, funding 6,000 new jobs for armed forces veterans, in the police, the prison service and at the UK border, cutting foreign aid by £9 billion, scrapping hospital parking charges, a new 30p tax band for those earning between £45,000 and £55,000 a year, removing stamp duty on the first £250,000 for new homes built on brownfield sites. A cut in business rates for small businesses. On immigration, Mr Farage said the only way for the UK to control its borders was by leaving the European Union. Dismissing the Conservatives' approach for a renegotiation of Britain's terms of membership of the 28-member bloc, Mr Farage said there was no third way. We want our country back, and then, and only then can we actually control our borders, he told the gathered media and party supporters. The party is proposing an Australian-style points-based immigration system, which the party leader said would be ethical, fair, and in the interests of the UK. Foreign criminals would not be allowed into the country and all migrants would need to have insurance to access the health system, Mr Farage said. Migrants would not be allowed to claim benefits in the UK unless they had paid into the system for 5 years and obeyed the law, under UKIP's plans. The resulting big reduction in numbers coming to the UK would relieve pressure on schools, hospitals, and houses, said Mr Farage. A Conservative spokesman said UKIP's numbers did not add up, adding, "We all know that Nigel Farage doesn't have a credible plan for Britain, he just makes it up as he goes along." Labour Shadow Minister John Trickett said, UKIP have confirmed that they are a party which stands for a privileged few. UKIP are a party of Tory policies, Tory people, and Tory money. Green Party leader Natalie Bennett said UKIP's environmental policies were an insult to the many people across the globe already suffering the effects of climate change. Commenting on UKIP's commitment to spend 2% of national income on defence, former Army head Sir Richard Danett said it was the right thing to do and made a lot of sense. Earlier, UKIP's campaign chief Suzanne Evans told BBC Radio 4's Today programme all of the figures had been independently verified by economic think tank, the Centre for Economic and Business Research. The manifesto launch came as one of the party's senior figures, immigration and economic spokesman Stephen Wolfe, admitted to disagreements with Ms. Evans over the party's immigration policies. Mr. Wolfe confirmed to BBC Radio 5 Live Breakfast reports in The Telegraph he said Ms. Evans didn't seem to understand the policies were true, but that he had made the comments weeks ago and he was now absolutely on board with his colleague. Despite a slight dip in some recent polls, UKIP has been polling ahead of the Liberal Democrats and is hoping to add to the 2 MPs it gained in by-elections following defections from the Conservatives.